So I wanted to talk to you about Digital Malaysia. How important is it for incentives like these to be going on in Malaysia right now?
Okay, absolutely important. We've set a goal to actually increase ICT contribution to our GDP from 12% in 2012 to 17%. So what does it take for a country to move that number up? You have to do it through a big framework with incentives for private sectors to come in as well.
Yes. Yeah. So what are those incentives? What can people expect, and what do you want from the companies that you're going to be working with?
Well, I won't go into the large foreign investment portion, but what we want as well is a healthy ecosystem for developmental activities, both from our citizens as well as others who could develop applications, not only for commercial benefit, which is good, obviously, but there are also social benefits that we want as well. Now, part of that contribution is to get Malaysians and the developer community to start thinking about not only consuming but developing components. So from basic understanding of how to develop apps to how to commercial apps, how to partner, obviously, and then go and take it the component. We have already over the last 2 years trained about 700 Malaysians in just developing mobile apps, for example.
Wow.
We want that to grow to about 10x. So that would be about a core community, about 8,000 Malaysians, who will then also influence another 10x in casual development capabilities.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're not talking about millions, obviously, but the reason we want to enable that includes both Malaysians and non-Malaysians, is so that they can start thinking about either commercial apps, social apps, social good apps, government apps, etc. So that Malaysia itself then transform from just consuming it to a country that actually produces, both for them consumption as well as for export, obviously.
So do you want the people that come out of schemes like this to be thinking about creating content for Malaysia, or have you got a more global look?
The genre that we are asking them to do is in enterprise, in games, in entertainment, in learning. That can apply for Malaysia as well as outside of Malaysia. So obviously from a commercial standpoint, you want to make sure that it is commercially viable for your markets, right? So that includes international as well. But there are some, as they develop internationally flavored apps, there will be those that benefit Malaysia as well. So we don't confine it to Malaysia only, for example.
So from the outside looking in, are you interested in speaking with developers and publishers, bringing them in and learning from them and using their talent to inform the talent that you already have? Or is it simply an investment sort of angle that you're going for?
So once again, we have an inbound investment strategy as well. So I won't touch on that component, but you're right, partners in the ecosystem, you met some of them this morning as well, is key to Malaysia. So they are asking the same question. What do we get in terms of collaboration if we come in as well, right? Both want to enhance the ecosystem. So I think they are comforted that there is a government initiative that's specifically focused on helping to develop that developer ecosystem. It's not just about an investment component, because both sides want to have that win-win scenario as well. So we welcome the Nokias, we welcome the Googles, we welcome the IBMs, we welcome the other parts of the ecosystem who's not only going to teach us but also bring us to market. At the same time, our role is to excite and sensitize and filter those who are in casual development as well as in serious development as well, so that it's a funnel into those kinds of partners who want that kind of capabilities coming out from the collaboration.
Asia has a fantastic history of gaming specifically.
Absolutely.
Japan, when Taito kicking everything off with Space Invaders, all the way up to the MOBAs of today with China and so forth. First of all, I suppose I would want to ask, do you feel like Malaysia can compete with China, Japan, Korea?
I don't see it as competing. I see it as a value-add activity that's necessary in building this ecosystem, whether it's serious games or casual games as well. When games are concerned, yes, there are partners who are in the games industry who want that output from a serious development perspective, and that's great. We have a program for that. We also want people to actually understand game techniques and development so that it can apply to multimedia learning for agriculture, which is a games-based component as well. We also have an animation stream, obviously, where arts is important in the games and vice versa, and also helps societal apps. So as you can see, we don't, as a government, we don't just box those components in only, but see where we can leverage those activities of development across other development capabilities that we want. Yeah.
And just a quick final question. Obviously, I'm from Britain, and Podgamer is UK based, and one of the sort of hot topics that keeps getting thrown around is that the British government is particularly interested in helping to fund and support the games industry. Where do you feel this? Where do you feel this want for the government to help its people develop in ICT skills? Where do you feel this emanates from? Is it a cultural influence? Is there something in Malaysian culture that makes you want to sort of advance in technology, or is there or is it simply a sort of economic factor?
I think, from a Malaysian perspective, we've always had waves of evolution in a short period of time, 50 years plus of independence, and we've already gone through 3 iterations of our economy, and so this is the 3rd one in digital. So I think it's a natural evolution in terms of looking beyond the mountain, so to speak. Now, we all know about digitization on the consumer level, and obviously behavior changes as well. I mean, a smaller country like Malaysia goes through a different learning curve than those who are used to technology. We jump straight from grandfathers not learning how to use any technology to saying I can't live without it because that's how I communicate, and that has permeated in a greater sense in our cultural society. So rather than just let consumerism apply, we want our people to actually take advantage of it in developing those components. Again, that's why I said social goods, social applications. Yes, there are components of commercialization and serious business as well. So to us, it's a natural evolution about now Malaysians taking charge about, hey, there are components that we can take advantage that we couldn't do. But the decision, the country environment, at least in Malaysia, I can speak for Malaysia, it's always, the heavy hand of government is always there in helping direct those components. Now, I think what's a bit different in our instance is the Malaysian government realized when it comes to this new age technology, they couldn't do it themselves. But what I think they did very well is create this agency with private sector people like us are running their agency. So all my staff are not from the government, we're from the outside, actually working on behalf of the country to develop this ecosystem.
And that gives you a better perspective on the
Absolutely. And that means that whatever we think works, we learn from other countries, whether it's UK or Jordan, etc., and then say these are policies or frameworks that will apply in a Malaysian environment. And it's a lot easier for governments to accept it because we span both sides of the equation. We understand what it needs to be done by private sector, but we speak government speak as well.